Welcome to the JBJ Management Podcast, and today our guest is the mayor. Let me just pause right there for a minute. The mayor of Cedar Hill, Texas. But there's much more to that. Stephen Mason, thanks for being here today.
Hey, I appreciate you, Mr. Let me pause.
Here we go.
Mr. Willis Johnson.
Here we go. Listen, we used to play golf a little bit. You got to be mayor, and you got to be too busy.
Oh, it ain't that. I just got to get my golf game up in order to keep up with you. And so I was just telling them that I got a few that I'm playing this week, and by the summertime I should be ready for you. So,
Okay.
Let's look it up.
Well, I've gone way down.
Oh,
so,
I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah, I've gone way down. Listen, tell me about this life that you live. This is the reason we wanted to have you on our podcast, because it's multifaceted. Father, husband, business owner, second generation, and a mayor, but not just a mayor, former president of the Metroplex Mayors Association. Stephen, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it sounds like I've been a little busy. Well, first, let me say, thanks for having me on. Always being around your presence, it's always, a pleasure. I try to stay around you. You don't know this, but I try to stay around you a little bit to kind of get some nuggets of wisdom.
Whatever.
I do. This is me, not the politician talking. But look, I've been blessed. Growing up, I didn't know any politicians. I didn't know what elected officials were. I mean, saying as I was growing up as a young child, my dad, he was just trying to start his business, and he was just starting to get actively involved in the community, and that's it. That's really all I've known, was really just from the eyes of seeing my dad. Then you look up, I look up, man, the business is celebrating 30 years this year, second generation, as you mentioned.
Right.
And I'm actually up for re-election right now. I did not draw an opponent, so I'm entering into my third year as mayor. So I'm just blessed, man. I couldn't have had scripted this if you would have asked me 20 years ago what I'll be doing.
Well, were you surprised that you decided, I want to be the mayor? How did that come about? I mean, a person has to make a leap. You have to go over a delta. You have to climb a mountain to say, I want to be the mayor. That's not something you just wake up and do.
Yeah. So, look, when I first got involved in the community, 2006, and I got involved in Cedar Hill, which is the city that I'm serving as mayor. When I first got involved in Cedar Hill, it was shortly after my dad had passed in 2002. But the community literally wrapped their arms around me, and they asked for me to be able to serve on Cedar Hill Chamber of Commerce and things. So because of that, I was able to, learn on the chamber. How do you network? How do you socialize? Just how do you review minutes? What is the minutes of a meeting? And I just kind of learned some of the soft skills, through the chamber. And there were some other things that went on just to kind of speed the conversation. So I just wanted to give back into the community. So 2002 to 2010, I was involved in the community. I wanted to get on the city council just to give back to the community, because the community was there for me. So that's how I got started as being an elected official. 9 years as being a city council member.
Right.
My last 3 years, the previous 3 years, I was mayor pro tem. And then the seat, while I'm mayor pro tem, the current mayor said, you know what, I think I'm just going to step down and retire. So therefore, it was an opening, for mayor. And that's that leap that you're talking about, for me to be able to step up and do it. And I, made history about serving as the first black mayor in Cedar Hill. So.
And then you think about this. I've gone to the U.S. Conference of Mayors several times. There you are, Washington, D.C., at the U.S. Conference of Mayors. But then there's the mayor of Chicago, there's the mayor of L.A., there's the mayor of Dallas, there's the mayor of Miami, and there's the mayor of Cedar Hill. I mean, it's everybody's the same.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing for, local elected officials to be able to get together in D.C. We ain't in D.C. just to, fellowship and talk about what's it like being mayor. We're actually in D.C. to try to help push policies for our communities. Everybody kind of had the same agenda for us to be able to be in Washington. And for us to be able to have a conference to be able to be there and also take some time out to be able to meet with our congressmen and women in office. That's the goal. That's the purpose. And obviously, you being there with the same mission in mind. So it's kind of surreal whenever you're in the room with all these, like-minded officials.
Yeah, you see them on TV, and then there you are sitting next to them.
That's right.
And you're one of them.
Well, I just happen to be in the right place.
But that's not how you feed your family.
No,
let's talk about Mas-Tek.
Yeah, so just so people know, in different states, different jurisdictions, they have different rules. Here in Texas, we're nonpartisan as far as local elected officials. And in my city, we don't get paid. So as mayor, I don't get paid. So yes, I have my own engineering firm. Survived my dad and second generation, and we celebrating 30 years.
How did you get in the business with your dad in terms of just wanting to do what he had created?
Yeah. That wasn't the blueprint, to be honest with you. It wasn't. So as a freshman in high school, look, we didn't have a silver spoon. It was made of wood, and I wasn't getting haircuts. I wasn't wearing name brand shoes. But I didn't go to my dad and ask him for anything. I said, hey, Dad, let me earn myself. So during the summer times, summer break, winter break, I said, hey, Dad, let me come into the office and let me come earn my keep. I wasn't trying to, show off or anything. I just wanted to, get some money so I could go to the barbershop and go get my own haircut and go up to the store and buy my own, pair of shoes. So that's how I really got involved. So freshman year in high school, entering into my freshman year in high school, I was just working along with my dad. I had to sign a W-2 just like everybody else. I had to earn my checks, and that's how I actually got started with being involved in the business.
What does Mas-Tek do?
So Mas-Tek is underneath the civil engineering realm. We provide geotechnical services and construction material testing. So on the design side, geo is earth, technical is what is about the earth. We drill samples down and bring soil samples back into our laboratory. We manipulate the soil to see how much movement is this soil. How much movement will your foundation be if we build right now? And that's what we do. So we manipulate the test. We get the results, and then if it's a lot of movement, we write a recommendation on how to minimize that movement. On the construction side, any type of construction materials is on the job site, concrete, steel, things of that nature. We test to make sure it meets specification.
It's not the normal business model for a small African-American owner. How'd you get there?
Yeah, so again, my dad started out with, he graduated. He was an engineer. He had the experience in the business, and him and another business partner just broke off and started their own company back in the 90s. And you're right, we was one of the few African-American companies, few minority companies back at that time in the 90s. And, here we are 30 years from now, we still, continue the legacy.
That, too, in itself is a phenomenon because the average business, after the first 3, 4, 5 years, they either shift, do something else, go out of business. But 30 years, tell me about 30 years.
So, look, I'm a man of faith. I think, things are destined. I've been blessed to be able to have, advocates, on my side. Once you get experience working with a client, everybody goes out and do their sales and marketing, and they say, just give me a small project. Let me prove my quality of work to you. And once you prove yourself, then, okay, let me get the next project. And hopefully that you'll be able to get, that right big project to be able to show our true worth to the project to the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So after you start having clientele like that in 30 years, it kind of helps, actually establish yourself and be able to build a reputation. So again, it's not just me, it's a whole team that's working along with me and beside me. They care about the results that they produce. And, it all helps whenever I go out into the workforce asking, will you consider me for the next opportunity?
What does this current federal administration do for your business?
So, I'm getting prepared to pivot. Look, although we are a minority company, we do have certifications with the state hub and the local certifications.
Right.
I've never went out and marketed, hey, I have these certifications, hire me. I just happen to have these certifications, but I'm asking you to be able to choose me because I feel like I am the best qualified. Well, with removing the whole DEI, you have people out there that, you have organizations that want to be able to put incentives in place so you can be able to share the wealth.
Right.
A lot of these general contractors, they can build and manage it on their own. But when agencies have these mechanisms in place, then it allows them to be able to be creative and to be able to seek partners for them to be able to come and say that they're the right team. Well, with removing the whole DEI, why would agencies, force these, contractors to go out and be able to bring in subcontractors? So I'm getting prepared to pivot. Majority of my business anyway was more focused in the public sector, not so much in the private sector. But who knows? I'm not sure if some of these state agencies or local agencies will follow suit with the federal government. I have seen in other areas throughout the state that they already are making changes. So yeah, if they decide to remove DEI, how would that impact my business? I'm not sure, but I am looking to be able to change the model of how we do business today and get ready for any change that may come before us.
How big is a relationship in terms of your business? How big is being in a relationship for you?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Again, being in business for 30 years, we already have the relationships. It's already established. But if you're trying to start off, trying to be a new entrepreneur right now, it is going to be a very difficult road for you to be able to break even. So relationship is very strong. I feel for the ones who are aspired. Do not let this discourage you. You just put your business model in place and just try to keep grinding at it. Just like how I done. I'm not saying I'm, making, my gross income is hitting, history making numbers. But however, I do have.
But you can feed your family.
I can feed my family. And that's all I can be able to ask for. If I could be able to put a roof on and clothes on their back and be able to give them the best position for them to be successful, that's ultimately the goal. But I just don't see the new mindset of, accepting diversity, as a prime, starting out in a new business.
Yeah. So what's interesting to me about that is we are probably the most diverse society in America that we've been in the history of America. So I don't get what's going to happen if you're trying to make America great again, whatever that means. I mean, is it code for being make America white again? Are we trying to white? It's not going to work. Yeah. What are you going to do with all these people of color? What are you going to do with these people of different ethnicities? What are you going to do with these people who have broad thoughts now? The cat's out of the bag. You can't put them back in.
Yeah. So I'm in the professional service industry, so as architects, engineering, etc. And whenever the demographics was being studied for the last 1-2 decades, the most, and I'm just kind of focusing on black businesses, the most activities with black business was in the professional engineering field. When you go to general contractor or contracting, you didn't really see a lot of us in that market anyway. So I'm not saying we all kind of pulling from each other, but it appears to me whenever you're saying remove the DEI, it's really going to hit targets towards architects, engineers in the black industry. So that's whenever I say, what is this thing that we're going to have to pivot? It's really going to be able to, I feel, impact architects, engineers, because if the general contractors or the owners have to be able to make a decision on who they want to be able to use, they're going to pick the ones they have the relationships with. And you and I know whenever we want to go out and be recreational, play ball, play golf, we're going to reach out to our buddies that more likely we can relate to. Well, why won't they do the exact same thing? And that's the main thing that's really going to really concern me if we start changing the dichotomy about removing DEI.
Well, how does it affect Cedar Hill as a city?
Yeah. So when I'm in position, as I am right now,
right,
it ain't gonna change at all. We're still going to encourage to have minority contractors, local and minority contractors, to be a part of our commerce. What we do now, let me tell you, we just finished a project. It's only the library hasn't even been open a year yet, and we initially had a goal of about 25-30%. For our library. So we had a general contractor. They had a guaranteed maximum contract, right? So they can't be asking for more, right? They got to make that profit margin work. And with us achieving the construction of this project, the contractor having a guaranteed maximum, we had over 50% minority participation on our project. Now, that also is picking out, again, this right contractor to be able to see the vision of mayor and city council. But it takes that agency to be able to try to encourage for them to be able to use minority and local contractors to be able to make that work. If we don't have those advocates in place, which I think Dallas-Fort Worth over the last at least 30 years that I've been in office, I think we kind of had that mindset. Nationwide, if we have that leadership that's not encouraging that, I would think eventually it will be watered down and it'll go away.
What do you think for your kids? What do you see 30 years from now, 40 years from now for your kids?
Yeah. So unfortunately, I cannot have the next generation to be colorblind. That's it. They cannot be colorblind. They are going to have to do what our generation is doing and before, is that we're going to have to work twice as hard in order for us to be able to provide the same results, in order for us to be able to compete with the ones that cannot, qualify as much as us. So that's what it's going to have to be.
When I look at Cedar Hill, 12 miles south of Dallas, 20 miles, whatever.
Yep.
What does Dallas mean to Cedar Hill?
So, we have a great relationship with the city of Dallas, Dallas County, even our neighboring cities. So when we're talking about the mobility transportation plan, we do a great job of planning anyway. But, part of our mechanism is for us to be able to communicate with Dallas County that, hey, we got this bond coming up. We have this development coming up. We're going to have some infrastructure that is needed. Can we have your support? So we do a very good job of communicating with that. We are putting together for example, I guess to be more relatable, we're putting together we want all of our parks to be connected with trails, right? But we also want our parks to also connect with Dallas as well. So if there's a bike trail, right, we don't want it to just stop and end and dead end, in that city. If there's a way for us to be able to make these type of connections, we want to foster that. And we have done that around our state park because, we are, so when you go down, downtown Dallas, but there is a portion of Dallas that kind of, buffers Cedar Hill right along to our state park. And we partnered with Dallas in order for us to be able to this park connect. So that's how important it is. What does that do? It's not just a trail, not just a park, but it also do promote tourism. So when people come to our state park, they can see that we are right next to Dallas. And that's people come to Cedar Hill, and that's when they'll come and just dine and do their business.
That's the same park when you go in and it says, be aware of rattlesnakes.
Yeah, that's on the Dallas side. The Cedar Hill side is nothing but smiles and hugs and loves. So no offense, Dallas, but I'm just saying, Cedar Hill, we got nothing but rainbows and shining stars in our city.
What's next for Steve Mason?
As I told you, I'm up for re-election again. Thank you for the citizens of Cedar Hill, I guess, to have some confidence in me for me to be able to lead another term. So I do not have an opponent. Looking to be sworn in here in the next couple of months. And I still have some big plans for Cedar Hill. I'm in negotiations right now for something huge. And I think it'd be a game changer, not just for Cedar Hill, but for our region. So you may have to bring me on so I can brag about it. Maybe towards the end of this year, I think I can be more public about it.
You don't want to talk about it right now?
Well, look, I've been working on this for about a year and a half. And it's I thought originally it was going to have to be a developer to be able to bring this type of project to us. Then it ended up being a potential public-private partnership. And right now it looks like that developer is going to be able to do this project, solely, on their end. So, yes, if they get that, if they're supposed to be able to close on this property here in the next couple of weeks, months. Allow me to let them close the deal first. I don't want to jinx it. I'm just knocking on wood. I've been working on this for some time. The developer's excited about it. When I bring this back to you, we'll chop it up.
He is the owner and president, CEO of Mas-Tek. He's the mayor of Cedar Hill. He's the husband and father of his family. Steve Mason, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Man, I appreciate it. Let me know when you're available for the next tea time. I'll be there. It's funny. I'm going to tell everybody, the last time you put me together on the tea time, I don't know, maybe because you just got to try to squeeze it in, but we got rained on. Now, most people will go back to the car and go away. No, this man goes under a tree in the rain. Let it finish raining. And all right, we paid for this. We're gonna finish our round. So that's the kind of experience that you had with the Mr. Willis Johnson.
That was several years ago. I'd go home these days. I'd go home. Thank you, Mayor. We appreciate
it, man. Look forward to doing it again.
All right, good deal.